You found the WMIX Saturday Sports Show on AM 940 and WMIXSports.com. Cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. The Saturday Sports Show has been recognized by the Illinois Broadcasters Association as one of the top radio programs in the state. That means the very best mix of local sports content is right here. From the powerhouse on Broadway, the Saturday Sports Show starts now.
Beautiful morning in King City here. Glad to have you with us for the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX and WMIXSports.com. Chris Hugo with Danny Zerwinski in studio. Avery Barton here as well. Tyler Barker lurking around the studios this morning. Should be a great Saturday Sports Show for you. Jared Shaner of the Mountford and Rams will stop by. We'll talk with Johnny Hollis of the Cecil-Lear Waltonville Woodlawn Red Devils. Both of those teams got big wins last night. You'll find out on the WMIXSports.com scoreboard here in just a moment. Todd Rushing, our WMIX Sports correspondent. John Shadowins, our other WMIX Sports correspondent. We'll talk about the games that they went to last night. Dan Mings, of course, of the Johnston City Indians. They got a big win last night. Ray Cullen of Centralia Orphans. Centralia beat Carbondale last night. Not going to chest thump or anything, but somebody may or may not have called that. Tim Holloway, of course. We'll talk with Tim. You're maybe wondering why Tim Holloway. Well, Mountford and Rams baseball is having a big golf outing fundraiser in October. We'll talk with Tim about that, tell you how you can get involved with that and help raise some critical money for Mountford and Rams baseball. Of course, they're going to have some things going on over the course of this next season or two where they will need some financial assistance. So we'll talk to Tim Holloway about that and maybe ask him some questions about some other things that he may be involved in, maybe tonight. Of course, going on tonight at Shagnon Gymnasium is the Legends for Life basketball fundraiser. Of course, come back to give back, they say. Mountford and Ram Hall of Famer, Saluki Hall of Famer Kent Williams, of course, honoring his mom, Barb, who is a cancer survivor now for 20 years, and proceeds from tonight's event will, of course, go to the Peacock Printing Relay for Life team. Tickets are just $5 at the door. That's tonight at Shagnon Gym at 6:30. You can find the full rosters at facebook.com/WMIX Sports. Of course, Kent Williams, Scott Gamber, James Wilson, Brian Gamber, Doug Creel is playing in this as a player coach, Tim Holloway, Derek Harlan, Chad Hammonds, Jared Sledge, Tommy Hayes. I could go on and on and on. Of course, longtime voice of the Rams on WMIX, Kurt Strothman, will be a coach of one of the teams as well. So pretty loaded lineup tonight. Kyle McClure, another one coming back. But I could go, like I said, I could literally just keep going on and on about the Ram alumni that will be participating in tonight's event. Of course, busy night in high school football last night. You heard here on WMIX, watched it at WMIXSports.com. As the Mountford and Rams got a 3-1 record last night, a 1-0 record in the South 7 Conference with a big win over the Althoff Crusaders. And we'll get to that WMIX scoreboard here as we roll into that. But a big game, big win last night for the Mountford and Rams and come from behind fashion at Althoff. Got to see the Candy Cane turf. It was a nice facility. But all in all, just a great win for the Rams.
Good win for the Rams. Took every aspect to get that win, offense, defense included, to be down 32-21 at one point and to be able to come back and pull off the hyphen run. And it was a hyphen run, and a hyphen run. We'll explain that later. But, boy, it felt pretty good to go over there and get one last night when you thought at one point all hope was gone, all chances were gone. And then all of a sudden, one big long run, turnover, another run, turnover, another run. I mean, it was a tremendous effort, and obviously kind of what this season's starting to turn into, a little different swagger around this Mountford and Rams program.
Yes, no doubt about that. Of course, it kind of looked like as you said, it was all lost. All hope was lost at one point, but the Rams rebounded nicely. Of course, maybe some other surprises as we take a look at our WMIXSports.com scoreboard.
Well, the Ram opponents last night, of course, Mount Vernon beat Althoff 41-32. Rochester beat Springfield 35-14. Waterloo beat Mascoutah 28-14. Triad beat Civic 41-32. Centralia beat Carbondale 28-27. Cahokia beat Marion 28-21. Mount Carmel beat Mater Dei 37-6. Then you go into the Black Diamond last night. SVWW wins 24-0 over Hamco. Chester, now with a 13-game Black Diamond Conference winning streak, beats Carmine 19-14. JC over CZR 30-21. It was El Dorado beating El Dorado Trico in the potato game 41-0. And Fairfield beat Vienna Goreville 43-8 as the Mules go to 4-0. Mississippi Division last night of the River to River. AJ beat Nashville on the road 55-14. Carterville beat DuQuoin 50-15. First time the Indians are 0-4 since '79. And Pinckneyville beat Sparta Steelville 36-14. The Panthers now have won 3 in a row. In the River to River, Ohio last night, Benton loses at home again, 30-6 to Heron. Murfreesboro at home crushes Massac County 52-14. Harrisburg continues a win this week, 27-6 over West Frank. We'll go 2 more conferences. In the Apollo, Effingham beat Charleston 26-13. Charleston comes to Mount Vernon week 2 next year. Mattoon beat Mount Zion 30-20, and Paris beat Salem 32-15. We'll go to the Cahokia. Carlisle beat Breeze Central in a close one, 21-20. Dupo over Redbud, 28-12, and Columbia beat Westcliff 48-14. For more scores from around the state and on the periphery of our listening area, which is a big listening area, you can go to WMIXsports.com.
Quite a few conferences on there from last night, of course, and some non-conference games as well. Going to add a couple of more conferences next week, I think, as the Okaw Valley, believe it or not, is on the periphery of our listening area. So I've had some requests for those scores. So next week, those will be added to the WMIXsports.com scoreboard. Great asset, great tool. Got it on there last night. And, of course, for your benefit. Check it out at WMIXsports.com. We also archive our broadcast. You'll find some video highlights from past weeks in Rams football as well. Some very highlight-worthy plays. Last night, the Rams beat Althoff to improve to 3-1. They're now 1-0 in the South 7 after a 41-32 win. We'll talk about that win with Mount Vernon Rams head football coach Jared Shaner after a quick break here on the Saturday Sports Show, powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
The health of your kidneys has a big impact on your overall health, affecting everything from your blood pressure to your bones. And if you ever have a kidney problem, Dr. Kangura is here to help. Dr. Kangura trained at the Mayo Clinic and specializes in conditions ranging from kidney stones and uncontrolled high blood pressure to chronic kidney disease. Dr. Kangura sees patients at Crossroads Specialty Clinic. For an appointment, call 618-241-9071.
America is a nation on wheels. Everyone has at least one automobile. We use them for shopping, work, everything we do. But they can be a threat. Some accidents can't be prevented. Your professional Pekin Insurance Agency, Page Insurance on Crownview and Mount Vernon, can help protect you from a large financial loss when an accident happens. Call Page Insurance today at 242-7000 about low-cost auto insurance from Pekin Insurance. Ask them about the many money-saving discounts that are available. Depend on your hometown professionals. Pekin Insurance.
Here's Jeff Schmidt for Schmidt Chevrolet of Mount Vernon.
We've got an award-winning body shop at Schmidt Chevrolet, all state-of-the-art equipment that you will not find anywhere else. We're very proud of our body shop, and anytime that you unfortunately get into an accident, you can bring your car in here, and we're a direct repair facility for the vast majority of insurance companies. So that eliminates you having to drive 2 or 3 different places to get estimates and get quotes.
Schmidt Chevrolet of Mount Vernon, 3423 Broadway in Mount Vernon.
Everybody get up.
Yep.
It is.
Yep, WMIX, WMIXsports.com. Glad to have you with us on the Saturday Sports Show, powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Yes, indeed. Of course, the Mount Vernon Rams got a big win last night against the Althoff Crusaders on the road on the Candy Cane turf at Lindenwood University Stadium. 41-32 is your final. You heard it here on WMIX. You watched it online at WMIXsports.com. Proud to welcome to the program now head coach of the Mount Vernon Rams, Jared Shaner. Coach, good morning. We lost Coach.
We lost him.
Well, that'll happen. But all in all, a big win last night, of course, for the Rams. 41-32 your final. Rams did have a 21-19 lead at the half. So to come back, come from behind like that, what was it, 32-21 at one point as Althoff had the 13 unanswered points to start the half, and then the Rams roll and shut them out the rest of the way.
At 32-21, things were bleak, but the hyphen took over. Speaking of taking over.
Yeah, no kidding.
Is that I bet we got to get another trainer in here, don't we?
May have to.
Do we need a shadow here for this?
Good grief.
Well,
anyway, we'll get things figured out on our end. Of course, no need to extend that.
21-19, and then Althoff scores the only touchdown in the third quarter to go up 25-21. So, I mean, this is crazy. We got it for sure.
Yeah, we know this time. We have Mount Vernon Rams head football coach Jared Shaner. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
You know what? Fantastic. I did not get very much sleep whatsoever because I can honestly say that I was the most jacked I had ever been in a long time. It was a great game last night. It was fun to be. It was a great atmosphere, and a 41-32 win come from behind fashion like that. Althoff, of course, jumps out with 13 unanswered points at the time to open up the second half after the Rams went into the locker room with a 21-19 lead. But I think after that performance, I know things weren't perfect, and I know things didn't necessarily go the way you wanted them to the entire game. But I think all in all, this team showed tremendous poise last night.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's one thing I take from it for sure. Is that I was just proud of our kids for coming back. With 7 minutes to go, being down, 10 points, you question if you can come back or if your kids have kind of packed it in. If you're going to get another score or another stop, and our kids did a good job. I was very, very proud of them, especially late in the game.
In-game plans sometimes get thrown out the window in the first quarter. Looked to me like when the game got going, you found a way to exploit Althoff by throwing the football. Was that a lot more than what you planned on coming over last night?
Yeah, absolutely. And I knew just from watching last year's film that they would load up the box and bring linebackers and try to stop us that way. And last year they had a lot of success with that. But they also had 2 Division I kids on defense last year, so I was kind of hoping we'd still be able to run it initially. And we had a little bit of success, but it was pretty limited. But I just felt like we had some matchups. We have Doug and Jacoby out on at split ends for us. They were kind of rotating some corners in, and I felt like the matchup was pretty good against a couple of their guys. So we just threw the ball, and Doug and Jacoby did a nice job of catching it, and we kind of moved it early on that way.
When you look at it from 4 weeks of football last night, we see a guy that's growing up as the season goes on. Is Dylan Reeves at the quarterback position. I mean, he ran the team last night, again, about as well as a quarterback could in a situation on the road in a conference game.
He did a pretty good job. I was frustrated with him at times. We do some stuff on the line of scrimmage, and I felt like he didn't make a couple good calls, but watching the film, he did really what he needed to do. He ran the ball. We ran quite a few option plays last night, and he was a primary ball carrier. I know he was a little bit banged up. Just a hit he took early on in the knee was bothering him, and he threw the ball well. I think in the first half he maybe had 1 incompletion, and ended I think 12 of 16. So Dylan he's come light years from last year, and even from this summer, just throwing the ball and being in charge, and he's doing a great job for us.
A high-scoring first half, 12-7 into 1. Althoff led. Mount Vernon, your team led 21-19 to second. Halftime adjustments are so crucial. When you guys came out in that third quarter, Althoff got a touchdown to take the lead into the fourth, and then they get 2 more or another one right out of the gate. At that point, was there a sense of panic on the sideline from your team? Could you sense your team maybe standing there going, hey, I know we can do this, but maybe there was some doubt starting to creep in at that point?
Yeah, I don't know if it was panic. It was more just kind of deflation. We fumbled a snap early on in the third quarter there. We had a penalty. A couple things. They had the momentum. Things weren't going well. They ran the ball a few times on us, and I think there was that little deflation. That little, definitely wasn't a lot of energy as coaches, and some of our leadership just kind of stepped up and tried to get guys to be positive, and we got to finish this game and get 1 stop at a time on defense, 1 drive at a time on offense, and ultimately that's what our kids did late in the game, and again, just really proud of them for their effort there.
Down 32-21 with 7 to go. Obviously, the option is score as quick as possible and then try to get the ball back on some stops. Then the hyphen got loose and goes 63 yards. A forward touchdown.
Like
that changed things, didn't it?
Yeah, I like that. We might have to start using that nickname. That's pretty good. I joked, of course, after the game, we get a lot of phone calls and texts and things like that. So the bus ride is basically me responding to all those people. And one of my old coaching buddies asked what happened, how we came back. I said, well, the coach got smart. I gave it to our best running back. So DeMontes can do that for you. He's a pretty special kid. He does a great job. And, yeah, like you said, we were running out of time at that point, being down 10, needing 2 scores. We did a little bit better job blocking for him, and then he made a nice cutback across the field and just simply outran a couple kids.
Well, and taking a look at the Rams defensively, got the 3 big stops they needed, of course, in the second half, and taking a look at, not to single out kids, because the defense as a unit has been very effective this year, but very impressed with how hard Robert Grider, Jacob Williamson, and Tyler Knutson not only play, but how hard they hit as well, as they had some very big hits last night.
Well, I'll tell you what, those are 3 seniors, and the common denominator between those 3 is they're all 3 captains. There's a reason for that. Their teammates voted them in that. Because since their sophomore year when I got here, those are kids that have absolutely committed themselves and dedicated themselves in the weight room. And if you just simply, you come out here this Saturday morning and see them in a pair of T-shirts and shorts, they're not physically imposing kids. I think out of those 3, 175 pounds might be the heaviest out of those 3, and 2 of them play on the defensive line. So, but they've really just embraced that leadership role, and they've worked hard, and they want to have a successful senior year, and I'm glad that it's showing up on the field for them, and they're getting results. They're 3 great kids, and they're playing really well right now for us on defense.
That they are, and of course, looking ahead now to next week, it's a pink out night, of course, against the Marion Wildcats. Marion comes in 2-2 on the season. One of those things we're here in 2013. I'm not real sure what we're going to get out of the Wildcats, surprisingly.
Yeah, I just I've had a chance to watch a little film already, and Marion, I think the thing I have just a lot of respect for Kerry Martin as a football coach, and he's been very nice to me since I've got down here in Southern Illinois, and I just know his teams are always going to be well coached. They're always going to be disciplined. They lost a lot of starters from last year's team, but again, they're going to do things the right way. They've been in some barn burners early on and had to come back a couple times and fell a little short last night at Cahokia. But I just think it'll be another great game in terms of the conference. Just looking at wins and losses and who beat who last night. I think every week's just going to be a nail biter between all 3 conference games, and at the end of the year put everybody's name in a hat, and I think it's kind of a toss up.
As a head coach, going from the hunter to the hunted now, you can forget the Cinderella, you can forget sneaking up on people. 4 weeks, that's over. What's the mindset for the coaching staff and you heading into this week, where now instead of Marion coming in as a favorite, your team is going to be a favorite this week?
Yeah, I think it kind of changes from like you said, the hunter to the hunted, or from almost last year in terms of last year's team, just a desperation to go out and play well and get a win. To this year, just proving to people that we do deserve to be in the conversation as a good team and maybe one of the better teams in our conference, hopefully, and just come out and prepare every week and make sure we don't have a letdown. And our kids are hungry for that. As soon as the game got done last night, they were talking about Marion and the game this Friday and how excited they were for it and ready to get back into practice this week and ready to go.
Looking in the next week, when you start preparing and start getting things ready to go, a lot of activities going on, obviously off the field. Back to the question too of, being that favorite, focusing a guys on this game where your team's probably floating a little bit today. Do you bring out the film and show them things? It's a little easier to show things on film, I should say, when you win, as far as the coaching staff is concerned?
Oh, absolutely. We talked about that after the Muscuda game. Saturday morning, the kids will come in here in a few minutes, and we'll watch film with a defensive emphasis today, and then Monday we'll watch the offensive side and have an offensive emphasis. And we point out mistakes, and I told the kids that there's no question that learning from a win feels a little bit better than learning from a loss. So we'll watch the film and point out plenty of things that we need to improve upon, but ultimately we found a way to win, and I think we did not play our best football last night, and I think as disappointing as that is to me, it's encouraging on the other hand that we didn't play our best game and we're able to come up with a win.
Our final question, as you know, is our WMIX Sports Social Media Question of the Week, and due to a little stop through and having a little non-alcoholic drink last night, we came up with this one. You can tell what we did. What is your favorite flavor of milkshake?
Favorite flavor of milkshake, I'd have to go with just mint chocolate chip.
Nice. That's what I had.
Yeah, Hugo, you and I have a lot of taste bud similarities.
Yeah, and none of them are healthy. Did you notice that?
No, well, that's true. That is very true. But yeah, mint chocolate chip, Steak and Shake mint chocolate chip is unbelievable.
I'm looking at the hairstyles. I'm staying away from those food habits.
This is by choice. Mine's not.
It's not well, I don't know about that. It's partially my choice. If I let it grow a little bit, there would definitely be some bald spots.
Oh, man, that does happen, though. But
yeah.
Marion Wildcats on Friday night. It's going to be a special pink out night, of course, put on by the FBLA. Hoses involved with that. Good luck to the Mount Vernon Rams, and we look forward to hopefully 4-1 and 2-0.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
That's Jared Shaner, head coach of the Mount Vernon Rams, and you can tell having a lot of fun this year with a 3-1 team, 1-0 in the South Southern Conference. But the Marion Wildcats, of course, going to come in and not going to be easy. Of course, the Wildcats will be 2-2, 0-1 in the conference. They fell to Cahokia last night by a score of 28-21, so it'll be a very unhappy bunch of Marion Wildcats. But that will be Friday night. 6:30 is your pregame. 7 o'clock is your kickoff. Here on WMIX 940 and online at WMIXsports.com. We're talking about the Pink Out Night, of course. You can buy a Pink Out shirt, a special edition with sponsors on the back. We're happy to be a part of that at WMIX Sports. You can find more information on how you can purchase and help with the fundraising costs. Proceeds go to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. You can find that out on mvths.org. That's Mount Vernon Township High School, mvths.org. FBLA, of course, helping with that. Jose, I believe, will be selling balloons that you can release in honor of maybe a cancer survivor, or unfortunately a cancer victim, or just someone whom you would like to pay tribute. That'll be Friday night at J.D. Shields Memorial Stadium. It's the Rams and the Wildcats. It'll be Pink Out Night. We hope you'll come out dressed in pink with maybe a little orange and black on underneath to cheer on the Mount Vernon Rams. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk with the victorious Johnny Hollis of the Cestro-Valier-Waltonville Woodlawn Red Devils. We'll talk about the Devils game last night against the McLeansboro Foxes. You heard it on our sister station, Wish 98.9. We'll take a break. Saturday Sports Show powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
Complete. That's the Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois with a full sports medicine clinic, state-of-the-art MRI, a spine care team that focuses on pain management, arthroscopy specialists offering total joint replacement, hand surgery, and complete rehabilitation services. Doctors Chow, Houle, Ahn, Kowalski, Freehill, and Smith stand ready to serve you today with offices in Mount Vernon and Centralia and satellite offices in Benton and Nashville. Find out more online at orthocenter-si.com.
Hi, this is Joe David Cummins, President of Community First Bank. Now is a great time to move your account to Community First Bank. With our new One Account offering the highest interest rate in the market, free checking, and CD specials delivered by people you know and trust, why would you not bank with the market leader in Jefferson County? We offer 5 locations with 7 ATMs and have been serving the Jefferson County market since 1906. Stop in and see why our bank is the fastest growing bank in Jefferson County. Community First Bank. Welcome back to Personal Banking. Member FDIC.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX and WMIXsports.com. It's all powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
He's Danny Zerwinski. I'm Chris Hugo. And, of course, proud to welcome the head coach of the Cestro-Valier-Waltonville Woodlawn Red Devils, of course, Johnny Hollis. His team 24-0 victors over the McLeansboro Foxes last night. Coach, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
You know, it's always great to get a win, especially in conference play. Of course, every game for the Red Devils is a conference game, but to be able to shut someone out, to be able to say that you held someone scoreless has to be a pretty good feeling in your win last night.
It is. We're proud of our defense. I think we came out a little bit flat last night, but our defense picked us up there, and it's always nice, like you said, it's always nice to pitch a shutout. Well, I think our defense held them under a total. It was under 100 yards. I can't remember exactly what it was, but we are proud of them and the way that they've played and continue to play for us this season.
And you have a team that's kind of getting their swagger back in this season. And looking at Brandon Cochran last night, 17 carries, 76 yards, a couple of touchdowns. A surprise for you last night, giving you that much yardage?
Brandon had worked really hard in the offseason, and he had to take a backseat to Hood last year, and it's been his chance, and we just haven't got him going, and some of that may have been our blocking up to this point, and we're getting better up front every week offensively, and he's stuck with it and kept working hard. And he's really good at reading his blocks and following his blockers. But I'm not real surprised with that. I mean, I know he has that potential, and it's just a matter of time until we get him going.
And it's a good tandem that you have right now. Of course, last night Cochran gets the yardage. Caleb Miller also runs the football very well for you. Nick Marlowe, another good game at quarterback. It seems like you're kind of getting multiple options offensively as these younger guys start feeling more comfortable playing under the lights on a Friday night.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we try to be, if you look at our stat lines and stuff, you're not going to see staggering numbers at this point in the year. But it's getting better every week, and we like to be very balanced. It's hard to defend a team that is not just, just has one monster. So, we like to throw it a little bit. We got a good receiver, a couple of good receivers, and our backfield's coming along, and then we're starting to get a little more mileage through the air and on the ground through our quarterbacks. So it's just a lot more to prepare for other teams when you can do things like that. 5
teams in the Diamond have given up less than double-digit points in the first 4 weeks. Your team is one of those with 89. How proud are you of your defense so far, the teams that you've already played, El Dorado, Chester included, to be at this stage halfway through the season?
I'm very proud of them. I mean, through this meat grinder schedule we've been through so far, I mean, they've carried us. El Dorado, they ran it up on us, and we just weren't ready to play that night. But since then, I mean, they've really buckled down, and they've kept us in games and caused turnovers and put us as an offense in position to score and win games. And so I really appreciate the job that Coach Garner does with them, and he does a phenomenal job, and Coach McKee's helping him out with that. And it's awesome to have coaches that you trust and do a great job for you. So a lot of those guys, too, I mean, I think, maybe in the BDC some guys get overlooked a little bit because a lot of these, about 8 of those kids that are on that defensive squad are on the offensive squad, too. So they're exerting a lot of effort on both sides of the ball, and yet they're still, like last night, pitching shutouts. And I wasn't up on that stat that you just gave me, but I'm very grateful to the work that they put in every night.
Look, talking about that, where you got a school at Cesar-Valera High School, then you co-op obviously with Waltonville Woodlawn, and you have so many different kids trying to come from different schools to help your program at all levels. In a day and age where, we're hearing of junior high teams not finishing out seasons, we're hearing of winter teams not be able to have underclass teams. What's the secret, if there is any, to trying to get people out, get kids out in this day and age to play football at your program?
And I mean, I think especially, even in our own school, I think for a coach just to be accessible, to go to these other co-op schools and visit with people and try to meet parents and build relationships, to me that's very important. I mean, if I'm going to send my kid 30 miles to play football, I want to know who's coaching him. And so we're just we have tried to approach it that way. I'm not sure what the secret is. I mean, times are changing, and kids are a little bit different, and maybe more bent to be inside and do things inside, and that's what makes coaching tough. Kids are changing, and it's a different generation, and yet there's still a lot of good in these kids. There's ways to motivate them. It may not be the way it used to be, but still have great athletes and great potential, and you just got to find a way to get them out here to play so that they can help your team. And not only that with us, but we want them out here so that we can make a positive difference in their lives for their future, not just in the high school football.
Tough next week is Week 5 in the BDC rivalry week at 10s, and you, of course, host 148 rivals CZR in a little matchup, what I call the Hyphen Bowl is what I like to call it in Week 5 between the schools, and have for a while. What's it like atmosphere-wise? I know you do a workout thing in the summer with them, a competition, and then here comes Week 5 with all the rivalry. And what's it like at Cesar-Valera High School for your team this week?
It'll be nuts. I mean, I walked in there last night to put van keys away, and all the glorious stuff that is unknown about head coaches they get to do the night of the game, And
yeah.
Anyway, but I was taking care of stuff last night before I left. It was about 11:15, and I walked into the common area where our kids eat lunch every day. It's like our cafeteria area right there outside the gym, and somebody had already started putting signs up. I mean, they're just plastered everywhere, and it got me excited already about next week. We enjoyed the win last night, but when we were breaking down on the field, I mean, there was kids already. They're already talking about the Bearcats and how they can't wait. So this week will be. It's kind of homecoming. It's homecoming for us, so it's kind of a coach's nightmare in some ways. But on the other hand, I don't have to worry about motivating my kids this week. They'll be hustling in practice. If we can just keep them injury-free from the boys' volleyball game, we'll be in good shape.
Boys' volleyball game. Is that like powder puff football? Is that what's going on?
That's right, man. Hey, it's equal opportunity.
I want to know if you can get your principal in that game somehow to play. I want video of it, if that's possible.
Hey, Mr. Schultz, man, he's got skills, I'm telling you. He might do that. He might do that.
Of course, you mentioned motivation. One thing that always motivates me after a trip to the Metro East coming back from calling a game is stopping to get a milkshake somewhere. So our WMIX Sports social media question this week, what is your favorite milkshake flavor?
I'm a little bit spoiled with that. I mean, here in town we've got the custard stand, you know, and if my wife is coming home and she says, "Do you want something from the custard stand?" Obviously the answer is yes, right?
Yeah.
So what I usually get, I don't know if this is this. I don't know. You have to tell me if this is cheating or not. But I usually get a peanut butter malt.
That counts. A malt.
And about half the time I can't suck that thing through the straw. So then you got to get a spoon out and go to work with a spoon. But anyway, that would be mine, is a peanut butter malt.
Nice. Can't beat that.
No.
Malt's just a thick milkshake anyway, so I mean it's the same difference.
Hey, if you're going to eat something that's going to be bad for you, you might as well go big.
Amen. Go big or go home. And, of course, you
right.
guys have the Hyphen Bowl next week with CZR. Good luck to the Red Devils, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Hey, guys. Thank you for the coverage.
That is Johnny Hollis, of course, of the Cesar-Valere Waltonville Woodlawn Red Devils, of course, otherwise known as SVWW, or otherwise known as the Red Devils. Got a big win last night, 24-0, as they pitched the shutout against McLeansboro. We'll talk with WMIX sports correspondent Todd Rushing after a quick break here on the Saturday Sports Show, presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these. Don't forget a social media question on Facebook right now.
A digestive problem can affect every area of your life. But now there's a specialist right here in town who focuses on digestive health. Mayo Clinic-trained Dr. Tegpaul Atwal has opened the only gastroenterology clinic in Mount Vernon. Dr. Atwal treats acid reflux, gallbladder problems, inflammatory bowel disease, ulcers, and more. For your appointment with Dr. Atwal at Crossroads Specialty Clinic, call 618-241-9071.
Fuel economy and technology could not be more affordable. Hi, Roy Schmidt Ford dealer at Ford Square, Mount Vernon. You will love the fuel economy with up to 38 miles per gallon on the 2013 Ford Focus. Or try the technology in the 2013 Ford Fusion. Available sync with My Ford Touch allows you to keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road while you play your favorite music, control the climate, make phone calls, and receive turn-by-turn directions. Save up to $1,500 in customer cash or try 0% financing for up to 36 months on Focus and Fusion. Or for a party on wheels, how about the 2013 Ford Fiesta? With up to $2,500 in customer cash, you will find amazing savings on a Fiesta 4-door ready to get you 39 miles per gallon highway. Come see one of our sales associates at Ford Square, 1501 Broadway in Mount Vernon, or find their inventory online at fordsquare.com.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX and WMIXsports.com. It is presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Chris Hugo with Danny Zerwinski and the Grand Theft Autoless Avery Barton. So glad to have you with us on a beautiful Saturday morning.
So funny. I'm sorry, but that is so funny.
Should have told you that at the beginning of the break.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, man. On the line now, of course, WMIX sports correspondent Todd Rushing. Todd, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
You know what? The rain ended up clearing out last night. It ended up being a great night as the temperatures cooled off. Great night for high school football.
It was the best night we probably had for football. It was a real nice night, and it kind of softened the ground up a little, but not enough to take any away from the teams. It just made it a little bit better than it had been.
AJ, last night you went up and watched AJ at Nashville. AJ throws up a double nickel in points against a Nashville team that's kind of finding their way after a win last week. My first question is this: AJ's undefeated, and they've racked up some points against some teams. Is this a really good AJ team, or is this one of those deals where they're finding catching people at the right time early on the schedule?
I think they benefited from their schedule a little bit, but I still think it's an example of what a good coach and a good established program can do. AJ's no doubt a little bit down than what they have been. They're not as good from top to bottom, but he still has 2 or 3 nice linemen, and he's got a very good quarterback that can throw it and can run. And he's big and strong. Got a really good fullback in Reed, and he's got a weapon on the outside, number 1, the receiver, and I can't recall his name, but Brett is doing a great job of utilizing those kids, and they're capable of grinding on him, but they're also very capable of big plays. And he's getting the most out of his talent, and with the tradition they've had, he's built up down there. They believe in it, and I think that they're having a lot of success because they really trust and believe in what they're doing.
Nashville may be a year away under Coach Kuhn. They got a good level of kids in the underclass. They jump out 6-0 early on, then AJ rattles off the next 6 scores. Was it a case maybe of Nashville feeling pretty good about themselves, a younger team not understanding that after you score that first one, you got to keep plugging away?
I think that happened. Both these teams play a lot of kids both ways. Nashville's got better numbers, but they still both play a lot of kids both ways. And just what you said, I think they come out and scored, and they didn't respond the way they should. It's kind of like when a team scores those runs in a baseball game. You want your pitcher to go out that next inning and shut the other team down, and they didn't do that. And then they had a turnover and it scored again, and the next thing you know, it's 22-6 or whatever it was, 3 scores to 1, and being young and when you're not getting much rest, you're playing both ways. I think it was easier for Nashville to be tired than it was Anna. They were feeling pretty good, and it really affected them in the first half. There, the whole half, they got 35-6 at halftime.
Looking at this game, couple of names that stand out to me. One is Jay Kemp for AJ, threw for 235 yards and 3 touchdowns. Another one is Quade Novak for Nashville. 18 carries, 155 yards. This Novak guy, he's starting to make a name for himself rushing the football in Southern Illinois.
Yeah, he's a nice back. He's got good size. He's not great speed, but he's got better than average speed, and he's a big back, so he can run between the tackles, but if he gets out in the open field, he can eat up some ground in a hurry, and I think that is their go-to back, yes. And on the other side, Kemp, the quarterback, like I said, he's 6'3" at least, a nice tall boy, well-built, strong athlete. He's got he runs on the track team, runs on the relays. He's got good speed, and I think he's improved. He's throwing a bunch. I think he's throwing the ball much better this year than I saw him last year. I thought he did a nice job putting the ball where it could be caught last night and delivering good balls and staying poised and finding these receivers.
Last night you were in the River to River, obviously. A couple other games of note. Carterville continues to roll over DuQuoin. DuQuoin's 0-4 for the first time since 78 or 79, I believe, when they went 0-5. Is this for DuQuoin? I mean, Carterville obviously rolling to the AJ game next week, going to be in the playoffs. Is this for DuQuoin kind of a watershed year right now where, they could be anywhere from 1-8 to 3-6?
Yeah, like I said, you don't want to say bad things about it, but there's no doubt when I saw them in the last 2 weeks, DuQuoin just doesn't have the kids they've had in the past. They got some good size, but they don't have those big linemen just knocking people off the ball. And they've got some nice backs, but they don't have the backs that's got that breakaway speed, and they're struggling offensively. And when you struggle offensively, a lot of times you can make your defense look worse than it really is. If you're not scoring points or you're going 3-0 and you keep putting defense on the field, those games can get out of hand. And I think that's what they're going with right now. They've really got to find their niche offensively where they control the ball. And even if you don't score, eat some clock, where you keep that defense off the field. But they're definitely struggling. And we knew Carterville was going to be, one of the top teams. That's what I said coming this year. I thought, if I was still in coaching, I thought that Carterville would be the team we had to beat if we wanted to get the conference. I thought they were definitely the cream of the crop of the conference.
On the other side, in the Ohio division last night, Murfreesboro gets a big win at home against Massac. Kind of surprising by the score. Harrisburg struggles with West Frankfort. Heron gets a big road win at Benton, pretty dominating. Heron's starting to find themselves right now, but looking at the Benton Rangers, 2 years in the playoffs, last couple of years, wobbling a little bit at West Frankfort next week. The Rangers may be in a little trouble heading into a much better West Frankfort team next week.
Yeah, Benton's a team like we had a few years ago. When you have a very good quarterback, they're really relying on him, and Spike's hurt, and when he went down last night, it really took away from what they like to do. He's the kind of kid that makes other kids a lot better than maybe they are without him, and when they lose him, they're struggling, and they're a young team, and they that was their senior leader and also the focal point of their offense. So that's going to have a huge adverse effect on them. So hopefully they can get healthy and Coach Klotz can get his team back and they can get out of them what he was expecting.
Heron, a team starting to get players back, obviously from injury and or various reasons. Heron's starting to finally find their ground a little bit after a rough part of the early schedule.
Yeah, they started off with tough teams. I went down and watched their scrimmage game, and that's what the one thing I come away with. I told my wife that night she's with me. She's my co-scout all the time, and I told her, I said, I think they're really trying to figure out what they want to do offensively. They run the gun part of the time, they're in the wishbone part of the time, and back and forth. And I think Coach Carnes has done that now after 4 weeks. He's figured out what they want to do, and they've got a couple nice backs there and a good young team. I think they're going to be a team to reckon with on that side. I've seen Harrisburg, so I think Heron is probably the clear favorite over there right now.
Non-varsity level asking question here. Recent weeks, we've seen some freshman scores, 86-6, 86-36, 48-42. My theory is fewer practices, less time to work on fundamentals. Tackling is the thing that's lost. Is that kind of what's going on, you think, at the freshman level with all these high-scoring games going on?
I think that's part of it. I think another part of it, I think numbers are down. I think football is a sport that requires hard work and dedication and to work in the outdoors and hot temperatures and work that's not fun. And I think we're sad to say, I think we're in a society right now where people don't like to be challenged. They don't like to work. They like to take the easy way out. We see it in all aspects of life. And, I think football suffers because of that. And what you said about tackling, I think you said all the way through. I think tackling has really suffered at all levels. I see poor tackling at all levels of football. I watch college games and pro games, and I think the tackling is far inferior to what it was 10 years ago or so. And I think that's due to maybe we've focused so much on offense with the guns and the spread and high scoring and all the rules we put in focuses on helping the offense. So that's what people want to see, that we've kind of lost sight of what really football's all about. And the one thing I always carry away from Coach Glynn, he always said, he goes, no matter what you do, it all comes down to who blocks and tackles the best is going to win. And that's a true statement.
Week 5 next week starts Friday night, obviously. So a couple of games on Saturday. Where are you looking at maybe to go next week?
Well, I hear the Blue Board and Anna call them in, and the Wildcats and the Lions, and that undefeated matchup down there. I think that's going to be a great game, and it's never a fun trip to Anna, but this year ought to be a little more fun because I don't have the pressure on me. I can definitely take the wife to the Blue Board. May
I recommend you to eat the barbecue and such at Anna Jonesboro in the parking lot there by the press box you don't normally get to in previous years? May I recommend that food? That's a great get right in that area.
Yeah, I've been fed a few things down there a time or two, but it wasn't barbecue.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, speaking of food, and I'll see you in a couple hours here at the course, but speaking of food, our WMIX Sports social media question of the week surrounds food, and it is, what is your favorite flavor of milkshake?
Chocolate.
That was quick.
I'm a chocoholic. I'm kind of old fashioned, old school. Chocolate. I get all those picks, and I end up always picking chocolate.
Yeah. You can do some coaching with us in a couple hours. How does that work?
I hope to. So I got a thing I got to take care of this morning with my dad, and hopefully I'll get back in time to play some golf.
Well, hold them down for me till I get there.
Okay, we'll do, Danny.
Beautiful stuff. Thank you for joining us, Todd Rushing. We'll talk to you again next week. That's Todd Rushing, of course, WMIX sports correspondent. John Chadowins, our other correspondent, will join us in just a little bit. We'll talk some more high school football. Dan Mings, Ray Calling, still to come as we talk Johnson City Indians win last night. We'll talk to Central Orphans victory over Carbondale. We'll also talk with Rams head baseball coach Tim Holloway. We'll talk about their golf outing coming up in the month of October. Still time to get registered for that. Still time to sponsor. We'll talk about that and more coming up here on the Saturday Sports Show after a quick break presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
I'm Kevin Snyder with a look at your next rad weather. A rather pleasant day for today. It will turn out to be mostly sunny with a high of 72. Then a mainly clear and cool night tonight. Low 44 to 48. Mostly sunny throughout the day tomorrow with a high 74. Then Monday will be pleasant with plenty of sunshine. High of 75. Next rad weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Dig in with full contact coal miner training at Red Lake College. Learn in our new 20,000 square feet coal mine training center. Use real equipment like continuous miners and power sitters, and check out the new mine rescue and fire safety training tunnel. Associate degree and occupational certificates available.
We're full contact, hands-on coal mining. Real equipment, real live, all the time.
What are you waiting for? Call 618-437-5321 and get started.
Mount Vernon is home to many wonderful people and things, and that includes quality cardiac care from Dr. Ruzaik Ibrahim. A skilled cardiologist, Dr. Ibrahim's training and scientific accomplishments have earned his designation as a Fellow of the American College of Cardiology. His services range from preventative care to the treatment of advanced heart conditions. For an appointment with Dr. Ibrahim at Crossroads Specialty Clinic, call 241-9071 or visit in person at 4113 South Water Tower, Mount Vernon.
Good morning. Back on the Saturday Sports Show. Not opening things up, I guess. We're just coming back from a break. But
sleep deprived.
Yeah, I am. But that's no excuse.
No, it was like
it's not like I've been up all week playing Grand Theft Auto. Unlike our man Avery Barton here.
He's had theft, but it was taken away.
Yeah, I don't even know the last time I played a video game, but that's here nor there.
I couldn't even tell you. Tecmo Bowl, maybe?
It was an MLB game probably like a year and a half ago. Okay. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, it has been
NASCAR
kind of recently. Anyhow, talking some high school football here on the Saturday Sports Show powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Who knew that making fun of Avery, of course, would get me back in the swing of things? We do welcome back to the program our WMIX sports correspondent, the original, John Shadowins. Coach, good morning.
What's up, fellas?
You know, it's a great morning. It was a great night of high school football, I felt, around the region. And, of course, here the Rams got a big win. Of course, all over the place, maybe some surprises. But last night was just a great night for high school football.
It was. You know, the rain shut off just in time. Temperature was perfect. Couldn't ask for anything more than that.
Last night, you went and saw Heron at Benton. In the past 2 or 3 years, that's been a pretty darn good matchup. Benton been to the playoffs, as has Heron. Last night, seemed like, looked on paper, looked from the tweets or texts you were sending, pretty dominating performance at times by Heron last night.
It was, Danny, but, you know, Benton didn't have all their bullets in their gun last night, of course. Spike went into the game with a sprained AC joint, and he tried to get to go it. And, of course, it didn't affect his legs any, but he was no threat throwing the football was the problem. He threw a couple of smoke screens early on out in the flat, and it was apparent something was wrong. And Heron started loading up the box. They played that 4-3 defense, and those 2 deep safeties were only 7 yards off the ball. So you know, they knew something was up, and it was an uphill climb for Benton then.
Is this I asked Todd Rushing this question just a while ago, and I'm asking you, is this a Benton team that might be in a little bit of trouble as far as trying to get into playoffs? It seems to me they got to win the rest of the way out to even get to enough wins to get a chance to get on the bubble.
You nailed it last week, Danny. When they lost to Pinckneyville in week 3, that puts them on the bubble. You know, they're under the gun now, and they're going to have to pull an upset somewhere, and they're going to have to hold serve against teams like West Frankfort next week, and that'll be no picnic for them either.
That's a tough game. I think when the grand scheme of things, a Benton team that's wobbling, a Frankfort team that hasn't beaten them since they reenacted this series back up, at least for when the trophy became involved, and a Frankfort team that can score some points, it would seem to me that Benton is wobbling right now and it has to go on the road as well.
Yeah, and Frankfort is a lot better than that 0-4 record indicates. I don't care what Bill Parcells says. You aren't always what your record says you are. Frankfort is a better team this year than what they were in the past couple. They are explosive. You know, they put 44 up on AJ. They're formidable offensively. And Benton wobbling a little bit right now. Spike's hurt. Their middle linebacker, Blaise Dorchinez, he didn't play last night either. They're hurting.
Last night you saw the Heron Tigers, of course, and Milner and Merrill, 2 names synonymous with the Heron offense this year. They seem to be a very formidable 1-2 punch for the Heron Tigers.
That's what they are. They're a good complement for each other. I think one had a $1.25 last night. The other had 111 rushing. Tough. One's a epitome of a fullback. He's low to the ground, nice center of gravity, nice balance, and then got a little bit of speed with the other one. And they are a great 1-2 punch, and they've got a pretty nice offensive front in front of them. They're a meat grinder. You know, they run double tight. They're a wishbone team, and those 2 kids make it go.
Speaking of last night, you were in the river to river. You had, Massac going to Murphy getting shelled. Harrisburg holds off Frankfort 27-6. And then the Ohio Division right now, it's kind of like everybody seems to be waiting for Heron to come around, and if Harrisburg can give them a run. Is that what you're seeing right now?
Yes, that Heron is not. This is not one of the great Heron teams. This is a Heron team that, looking at them at first view, you'd think maybe 5-4, 6-3 if they catch a break or two. And I wouldn't change that. I think that they've got a nice offense. They're physical on defense. They don't have that game breaker they've had in the past. They don't have that shut them down defense. I mean, you can move the ball on them. You have to be physical, and you got to throw the ball a little bit. And that's what Benton couldn't do last night. They became so one-dimensional when Spike come out of the game that Benton just loaded the box and teed off.
Last night, spreading around the area, Mississippi Division last night, DuQuoin's 0-4 for the first time since '78. Has Pinckneyville coming in, who's won 3 in a row next week at DuQuoin. I mean, this is rarefied air in the wrong way for DuQuoin as far as where they're headed, isn't it?
It sure is. I just hate it that Coach Martin, in his last year or maybe last couple of years here, is going out this way. But you know what? He's coaching as hard as he's ever coached from all the indications, and I would expect nothing less of Al Martin. He, as great a coach as he is, he's even a better individual.
Carterville AJ next week at the Pit. Of course, that's the premier matchup in the river to river. Black Diamond last night, a game that we were all highly interested in. Carmi goes to Chester. They left Wednesday, got there last night. They go in there and give Chester all they wanted last night on that very long road trip over there to the Mississippi River.
Yeah, I think Chester's been exposed a little bit the last couple of weeks. They do have some weaknesses up front. They're dynamic in the backfield. They've got a veteran quarterback that can throw the ball a little bit, and they're loaded at the running back position. But there are some holes up front, and Carmine's not too bad up front for a BDC team. So that didn't surprise me if they hung in the game. If they had won, it would have surprised me. But Chester hung on like they should have. They had to hold serve at home.
In the BDC, as we look around, next week, Week 5 is rivalry week. You've been a part of that over the years for such a very long time. What's it like in rivalry week from a coach's standpoint, getting ready, knowing that you get a little bit more into it, obviously, with a rivalry game in that week?
Well, the one nice thing about rivalry week is not having to worry about motivating your kids, because they'll do that on their own. Sometimes the problem is keeping their feet on the ground. Sometimes you make a lot of mistakes because you're too jacked up. You don't want to play on emotion. You want to play with excitement. You want to play with a sense of urgency. You don't want to play on emotion. And a lot of times in a rivalry game, you practice with emotion, and you come out the opening kickoff with emotion, and if something bad happens off the bat, you hit rock bottom too quickly.
Any one thing last night that you saw, whether in person or saw score-wise or highlight or stat this morning, that kind of stands out for you, that just something kind of caught you and say, hey, that's something to look at from last night?
Well, I tell you, I had my eye on the Centralia-Carbondale matchup. That was really interesting, and I have a lot of respect for Coach Collin, even more now, of what he's done at Centralia, and then to come back win against a fired-up Carbondale outfit, which I understand has a couple of players that are just, they can play at the next level, but the halfback and, of course, often the quarterback that we saw together last year. Centralia losing all that firepower last year and then finding a way, and here they sit, 4-0 this year again.
Speaking of sitting in pretty good position, next week's Week 5, a lot of great games, both Friday and Saturday, one on Saturday afternoon. Where we know where Todd Rushing's going, but where is John Shadowins possibly going next week?
Well, that's where John Shadowins was going with AJ, but you know what? I had a backup plan.
Yeah.
Todd just first. I think that thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I think that Fairfield Carmi game is an important BDC game. Fairfield's on the rise. They're surprising a lot of people, even though they had the early season schedule that was in their favor. They showed last night against a Vienna team that's not chopped liver. Beating a team like that 43-8, that they sent a message last night. And I think that they'll not purposely beat a team that badly, but I think they wanted to send a message, hey, we are for real. And I believe that they are, and I believe that game next week will be a head knocker.
Well, and of course, we have a social media question this week you're either going to love or going to hate. I think it's 50-50 there. We want to know, what is your favorite flavor of milkshake?
Well, that depends on if I'm in Cesar or not. If I'm in Cesar, it's hands down the orange sherbet milkshake. If I'm anywhere else, I'll probably order chocolate. But first choice is the orange.
Very nice.
Nice. So I told Chris it would go one way or the other. I didn't know this about you, but I thought it's either going to be something totally different, which it is from the custard stand, or you'll be like, I don't like that at all. That's kind of what I was going on that.
My wager was
I
on
love your guys' questions. So
My wager was on one of those like side by sides, those half and halves at a Steak and Shake, but I was off there. But Coach, we appreciate the time you give us every week. I love the content. I just love to sit back and learn more about the game every time we have you on. Can't wait to do it again next week.
You guys are too kind. I'll talk to you later.
It's John Shadowins, of course, WMIX sports correspondent, and obviously mean every bit of that, of course, as we need to get to a break here on the Saturday Sports Show. It's presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
That's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
The tradition of fine vehicles and great service continues at Second Chance Auto. They've been providing quality cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs for families like yours for over 33 years, and many are priced under $10,000. Plus, most have a 3-month or 3,000-mile warranty. Bank rate financing available with instant approval. No gimmicks, no pressure, just honest deals on great vehicles from your friends and neighbors at Second Chance Auto, living and contributing back to the community they serve. Located on Route 142 East in Mount Vernon, call 244-4582.
Protect yourself and the ones you love by getting a flu shot at the Medicine Shop Pharmacy. It's the smart and healthy thing to do. Just walk right in. No appointment is necessary, and no prescription from your doctor is required. The shot is no cost to Medicare primary beneficiaries with Part B. Here's pharmacist and pharmacy owner Eric Black.
We have a seasonal flu shot event, which is not just one day, but usually 4 or 5 days that we schedule nurses to come in and give shots. I can also give shots to anybody who can't make those specific days, for example.
The Medicine Shop is also offering flu shot clinics. Here are the dates. Get your flu vaccine between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Tuesday, September 24th, and Thursday, October 3rd, Monday, October 7th, and Tuesday, October 8th. If you're homebound, every effort will be made to schedule a home visit. Call us if you require this service. The Medicine Shop Pharmacy, 2339 Broadway in Mount Vernon, or call 618-242-8776. Jim.
Oh, yeah? Saturday Sports Show, WMIX.com.
What is that?
I have no idea, but we're presented by Crossroads Community Hospital, which means it's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Oh, man. I don't know where to go from here.
I don't either.
Other than Johnson City winners last night, 30-21 over CZR. We welcome Dan Minks to the program. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing this morning?
You know, doing pretty good. I imagine you're doing a lot better now. You get the monkey off the back. You get the first win of the year, and I know it's not the way that you like things to go, but still a good win in BDC play.
It was. You know, getting off the snide is always a good thing, and just happy to get that first win under our belts and getting ready for the next one.
This matchup with CZR, since you're taking over at Johnson City, it's been a knockdown drag out with the Bearcats. What is it about this game that makes it so difficult, or is a tough game for your team and them as well?
Yeah, I don't think they like us very much. You know, I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. And you know, we got best effort last night from our kids and their kids, and it couldn't have been a closer football game. You know, we ended up with 300 yards. They ended up with 300 yards exactly. You know, it came down to making some big plays and causing some turnovers, and we did the things that we needed to get the win.
You got a couple of kids that rushed for over 100 yards last night. Nick Summers goes for 113, Dakota Edwards for 108. As it ties after 4 weeks, is your offense starting to find their way through the BDC and rack up some yards and points?
Well, you know, we're just getting better, you know, learning the systems and putting it in play and learning how to do the adjustments and, you know, the things that you have to go through with growing pains, and that's what we're doing. Excuse me, Dakota played pretty good last night, and he breaks his hand in the third quarter, so, you know, he's probably going to be out for a little while as far as running the ball goes. And, you know, but Nick did a good job, you know, as a sophomore, you know, 10 carries, 113 yards or whatever it was, and you know, we just got to continue to get better, and our offensive line is starting to gel, and, you know, Big Caleb Burns made a lot of really good plays for us last night on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. So, you know, we're doing okay today. You know, we've still got a lot of things to work on and get better, but we are doing okay.
When you have a young football team like you do, and it's how different is it to go from playing under the lights on a Thursday or a Monday night to playing under the lights on a Friday night for a sophomore or junior for the first few times?
Well, you know, I guess it's a pretty big learning curve. You know, I really think that it's a big learning curve for the kids, and And we're getting to the point now that they're settling in a little bit and at least understanding the intensity level is a lot different.
Speaking of different, the intensity level picks up next week, Week 5 rivalry week. With Carterville out of the diamond, Chester is now your rival in this Week 5. I mean, this team always seems to find a way to win. They held off Carmi at home last night, came from behind. I mean, how balanced right now? I know Chester's out there, but how balanced are the rest of the teams in the Black Diamond Conference this year?
Well, El Dorado, I think, is the team to beat. And Fairfield's scoring 50 points a game. Chester, until somebody beats them, they're still got to be considered absolutely the best. They haven't lost a game, going on 2 years, and they're very well coached and have a lot of team speed. So, you got those three teams at the top, and I think Chester is a little bit better than what people think they were. So, it's going to be a pretty interesting last couple weeks here in the Black Diamond.
Of course, Dan, I know it's a busy morning for you, so we'll get to our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. And one of our favorite traditions is always having a milkshake for some reason on any trip back from the Metro East. So we want to know, what is your favorite milkshake flavor?
You know what? I've sort of gone back and forth on this one, but, strawberry has always been, since I was a little kid, that's what I wanted, a strawberry milkshake. So, I think that I've got to stay there, although, believe it or not, I lean a little bit more now that I'm older toward a banana.
Now, okay, I was getting ready to ask this anyway. Are you one of those that maybe you go to a certain burger restaurant, we'll just call it Steak and Shake, that might get the half and half, like the side-by-side strawberry banana? Have you ever done that?
Yeah, you know what, and it confuses me a little bit.
It's a letdown.
It confuses the palate. So, it's usually I just like to go with one or the other depending on the mood.
There we go. Dan Mings, congratulations on the win last night. Good luck next week.
Guys, thank you.
That is Dan Mings, head coach of the Johnson City Indians. And big win last night, of course. And I know the season's probably not going the way that Dan Mings would like it to go down there in Johnson City, one of the more prideful individuals and a good football coach. But got the monkey off the back, and now heading into rivalry week, which, as you mentioned perfectly, Carterville leaving the conference makes Chester their geographical rival. But how long before they want Chester out? Chester has come in and been pretty successful in the BDC.
Well, Chester is 13 wins in a row in the Black Diamond. They struggled last night with Carmi, as expected, because Carmi is a good team. And then Chester's got Johnson City next week in this rivalry week thing, and we talk about it. It's Carmi at Fairfield. That's an outstanding matchup. CZR at SVWW, the Hyphen Bowl. Needless to say, that it says all about it. El Dorado at Hamilton County. El Dorado heavily favored. Johnston City at Chester. That's a tough trip as Chester goes for 14. And then the Saturday game, flying feathers everywhere. You have Falcons and Eagles. Alvarado Trico for Vienna Goreville in the co-op game. So it's very interesting. It's a great concept. I like it. It's midway through the year. They try to match these teams up rivalry-wise. Vienna Goreville came in the conference as a co-op and got that taken care of. So Alvarado Trico now has somebody. And, Alvarado Trico originally was playing who in this week? I'll see how good you are.
Cairo.
Yep. Then they had an off week. It was like Metro East Lutheran, and then they finally found Vienna Goreville when they came in varsity-wise. So
thought you were going to get me.
I wondered if you were paying attention. You weren't paying attention. But
I was all over it.
I
got distracted because you were talking about the co-op game, and I noticed that the IHSA abbreviates it as COOP, and I was thinking about how they're both birds.
Birds.
So
birds of a feather flock together game next week.
That they do.
Yeah. The Hyphen Bowl, though, that's one of my better ones, I think.
Yeah, I like Tomato, too, from last night.
Yeah, El Dorado, Alvarado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always one of my favorites. That's back when I did scores for back in the day.
Back in the day. Me too.
Oh, man. We'll talk about some surprises from last night. Of course, we'll give you our scoreboard again a little bit later in the hour, and then, of course, we will also preview a little bit of Week 5. Ray Collins still to come here on the program. We'll talk about the Orphans' win last night, of course, over the Carbondale Terriers. The Orphans are 4-0, and I don't want to say that's a surprise because it's not a surprise, but knowing what they lost, it's kind of a surprise that they're 4-0.
You're looking at a team that lost umpteen % of their offense, and again, you could say, okay, the schedule's kind of favored them a little bit, which it has, but you still got to go out and play. You still have to beat Salem. You still have to beat Civic. You still have to beat Effingham on the road. A Carbondale team that was racking up points, like a slot machine in the first 3 weeks.
I think that's the most impressive thing.
Only scores 27.
Is a team that has people have often been critical of defense with that high-powered offense where you don't really need the defense when you score that many points. But to come out and get that big win last night, 28-27, I mean, that just speaks to the tutelage of Ray Cullen, and we're going to talk about that next here on the Saturday Sports Show. It's presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. Do you have a point to make?
Well, I was going to say, that's a long old winning streak there at Evers Field.
Yeah.
A lot of teams go there and get condemned before they leave.
So we're at least at 13. I want to say
15, 14,
they're
15.
about maybe 16.
Yep. They go to Althoff next week.
Now that's going to be one I think is going to be interesting.
Oh, you got an Althoff team that can't stop themselves in practice. And then Centralia could do some points. Kokia comes to Centralia next week. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in that game. Because Althoff's wavering. I mean, they can score some points, but they can't stop flag football.
Right.
Not knocking Mount Vernon, but they just can't play defense.
Right. So we'll see how that works out, of course, over the coming weeks. Centralia winners last night. Cahokia winners last night in the South 7. And, of course, the Mount Vernon Rams beat Althoff by a final 41-32. We'll talk about that. Ray Cullen is next here on the Saturday Sports Show. Crossroads Community Hospital, of course, alongside. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
This is Chase Landers with Landers Collision Centers. It's been said that in order to grow, you have to change. Very rarely anymore do insurance companies ask the phrase to go out and get 3 estimates. The new phrase insurance companies are asking is, would you like to take your vehicle to one of our direct repair facilities? This is a way for your insurance company and collision repair center to help relieve the stress you may have from your unfortunate incident. And, as Landers Collision Centers has adapted to this forever-changing industry, we are extremely happy to announce that we are a direct repair facility for over 10 different insurance companies. It's likely that one of them is yours. From dealing with your insurance company, setting you up with a rental vehicle, lifetime warranty on repairs, and of course, Landers free lifetime detailing for qualified customers, Landers Collision Centers literally takes the stress from your incident and turns it back into a shiny new ride for you to enjoy again. Landers is here for you whenever you need us. Big or small, Landers fixes them all. 1-888-LANDERS. That's 1-888-LANDERS.
This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Wilt. I want to thank Mount Vernon and the surrounding area for continuing to support us over the past 5 years. If you have never sat down with someone to go over your insurance program, let me invite you into our office. Let us show you what working with the industry leader, represented by a local agent, can do for you. I'm located just off 42nd Street. You can reach our office 24 hours a day at 242-1421 or on the web at tonywilt.com. Thanks again, and go Rams.
I feel so close to you right now. It's a force field. I wear my heart.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. Chris Hugo with Danny Zerwinski. Avery Barton is here with us. Presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Our next guest, his team got a big win last night over the Carbondale Terriers. They remain undefeated. The 4-0 Centralia Orphans, 28-27 victors last night. We welcome Ray Cullen to the program. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
You know what, doing pretty good. And, 4-0 are the Orphans. Probably last night we thought might show us a little bit about the conference. Of course, all the talk was on Carbondale. Everybody thought that Carbondale going 3-0 would probably have a chance to maybe run a table. But the Orphans came out. Sounds like they played pretty well defensively. Obviously, your offense seems to be high-powered yet again. Just a good win for the Orphans last night.
It was a real good win for our young kids. We play a lot of young kids, and Carbondale with 23 seniors, I mean, that's a daunting task, I felt, going in, but our kids just never would quit. They just kept playing and playing and playing, and we had 3 or 4 drives stall, and we gave the ball away inside the red zone going in 3 times, and we felt we could have scored a few more times, but as you said, our defense, I mean, we challenged them to bend and not break throughout the whole week, and we did that. I mean, Carbondale pretty much marched it up and down the field until they got where we had to, until we finally just didn't break. And, I mean, we gave up 560 yards of offense, but only gave up 27 points.
I got to ask, you talk about your young kids finding their way. A talented group obviously graduated the last couple of years from your program. Is this the time where these kids are going to say, hey, you know what, we want to prove to Orphan fans we can play some football as well and prove to them that they can be winners and keep this program rolling?
I think that's what you're seeing from our kids, and I believe that the culture has changed a little bit as far as learning how to win and playing for 4 quarters and doing things you need
Carbondale team, you jumped out. They jumped out on top early, a 5-yard touchdown pass, and your team gets a touchdown pass as well. Carbondale comes back with a couple more. At that point, was that where your team learned last night a little bit that, hey, even though we got a little adversity going on, we can come back from things that we're behind on?
I think that, we had been learning it. We won in the fourth quarter the first week against Salem. We won in the fourth quarter late against Basalto in the second week, and then last week played a pretty complete ball game. But last night, and I think our kids obviously understood that they were the best team we had played in 4 weeks, and to be down 13-6 at half was really not, an issue. It shouldn't have been an issue for our kids because we had the ball coming out in the second half, but they scored, make it 20-6 in that third quarter, and then we stalled on another drive, and I could kind of see the Daubers going down a little bit, and then we got a big stop right about midfield. They went for it, and we scored 2 plays later, and then just because the way we kicked the ball off right now, because we're squibbing it everywhere, the ball was bouncing around everywhere, and our kids recovered it, and then we scored again and got a 2-point conversion, made it 20-20.
Speaking of that, you look at your team, and what I like is Broderick Green has another big game last night for your team. He is starting to make a name for himself, 15-24, 203 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's got to be pleasing to you through 4 weeks to see a guy like that start coming around.
It is. It's hard sometimes to remember that he's a sophomore, that you have to not get real excited with it because you're used to, I'm still used to thinking that Diamond out there who's been there for 3 or 4 years, and you got to coach him different ways right now. But yeah, he's doing a good job. He's managing the ball, managing the offense for us pretty well. There's always something he's going to need to work on, and I think if you asked him this morning, he'd feel like there was a number of balls he should have completed. And, we shouldn't have been just 15-24. I felt like we could have been 18 or 19 out of 24.
Speaking of South 7 Conference last night, 4 games into the season, 1 game into the conference schedule, you've seen some scores, you've seen tape on teams, obviously. What's your take on the South 7 Conference right now after 4 weeks?
I think it is exactly what I thought it was going to be coming into the season in every preview article that everybody asked me about, and that's that I just think anybody can beat anybody on any Friday night, and I think it was proven last night because, and I said this last night after the game to our coaches, I really felt like going into the game, going into the week, a lot of people around Southern Illinois felt that the 3 favorites in those games were Althoff, Carbondale, and Marion, and the other teams all won. So I think that's a testament to our conference, because I believe that anybody can beat anybody on any given Friday night. I think that Mount Vernon's got a good group, and then Coach Shaner's got them going exactly the way you'd want it to go right now. And Marion is Marion. Coach Martin's going to have his troops ready every Friday night. I just think it just goes to show, Cahokia and Althoff. I think Althoff's probably still a pretty good team. They battled you guys, throughout the game, from what I understand. It's just a balanced league. I think anybody could beat anybody on any Friday night.
And no doubt about that. Of course, you've been on enough to know the WMIX sports social media question is coming around. And, of course, this week we want to know, what is your favorite milkshake flavor?
Butterscotch.
Butterscotch. Nice.
Yeah. I've always been a butterscotch guy, man. I like that stuff.
Yes, not a flavor you see around a lot. Is that kind of like an exclusive Clinton County flavor, or how does that work?
Find that at Dairy King, I know.
I wondered.
In Breeze.
Really?
I had a feeling.
Wondering.
Coach, you guys have the Crusaders next week. Good luck to the Orphans.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you. That's Ray Calling, head coach of Centralia Orphans, and not something I necessarily want to say with him on, but a testament to his coaching abilities. Of course, a young Orphans team, they lose a once-in-a-generation caliber player to graduation, of course, and the player of the year last year, Rashad Campbell. So, they are 4-0 now, looking at a chance for 5-0, probably going into the Althoff game next week heavily favored, I'd have to think. But anything can happen on any given night. Here's what we learned last night, and I said this in the post-game show, and I believe you agreed, or you may have said it and I agreed. Either way, one of us did, which was what we learned last night is that we didn't learn anything. Something along those lines. I don't think those were my exact words because I lost my train of thought. But I recovered.
I'm not sure what exactly was learned last night. I mean, it is. All we know is Mount Vernon is a different program right now. Althoff's wobbling. They can score with anybody. Defense is, the fast giddy-up offense is great, but your defense got to do something as well. Carbondale is 3-0, loses last night. That's a trend for them over the last 10 years where they start getting into conference play. They don't play Murfreesboro and Heron, smaller schools. Okay, they've been racking up points. Centray holds them 27. Maybe people starting to figure them out. Cahokia beats Marion at home. Cahokia was looking around going, can I win a game? Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing with that is you have an Altop team last night that I thought maybe kind of panicked because the passing game was figured out when he figured out you have to stop Luke Frazier. And can catch the ball regardless of if it's in his general vicinity, he's going to come up with a grab more than likely. So they started the run. Well, the run became effective with Dennis Jackson. Of course, I believe the touches in the end zone that went for scores went to Malik Easley. But once they started to run him left and right, they started to make a little bit more impact, but then the Rams were able to stop that. I think they sort of
can't run. I mean, they cannot run the football effectively.
Not effectively.
No. They struggle up front, and they can pass block, but that's a whole different ball game than getting out there and putting helmet on helmet, pads on pads, and run blocking.
Well, and unlike years past, because the South 7 is always, at least from what I can recollect, has always been a conference where every year you can pinpoint a team or pinpoint a program. Earlier in this millennium, Althoff and Cahokia, you knew were going to be the cream of the crop every year in the South 7 Conference. Well, then you have the Mount Vernon Rams start to rise up a little bit. And then you have Marion start to come up a little bit. Now you have Centralia starting to rise. You have Carbondale wanting to rise, but they keep falling victim to that hot start. And then they start to cool off once they get into conference play. Or, at one time it was after the, going 4-0 and then losing the last 5 or something along those lines. So we really know nothing after the first week of the South 7 Conference play.
Yeah, it's wide open. Marion could get things together, come in next week, and put on a clinic. I mean, they've done it before, even though they struggled. They struggled with Mount Vernon last year. You have Centralia's got Cahokia. Carbondale's got, Centralia's got Althoff, I should say. I mean, Carbondale Cahokia could be interesting. Could be real interesting now.
Well, and we talked about it, and we'll get to Tim Holloway here in just a moment on the Saturday Sports Show, talk about the Rams baseball golf outing fundraiser. Cahokia is a team that, talking last night, I think it was off the air or during a break, that has shifted more to becoming a defensive team. They're more balanced than they were. Used to be a run-and-gun Cahokia team, see how many points they could score. They had Ivy and Hunt and those caliber of players. I think Hunt went on to Mizzou. But, could just throw it in the air. In 2008, when they beat the Rams, thought the Rams had a win. Mulvaney on a quarterback sneak into the end zone. And then with 20 seconds left, they have it on a touchback. And they roll 80 yards in 20 seconds. That's not the type of Cahokia team we're seeing right now, relying a little bit more on the run and relying a lot on their defense. And they're just 1-3, which is hard to believe, but not hard to believe in this age of high school football.
As I said, it's interesting. It's just totally interesting of what's shaping up offensively, defensively. The Rams are looking good, and I don't know. It's such a very interesting course of action that's going on right now. It's nice to be in the running, obviously, for Mount Vernon, and to have that option and ability. And we'll see if they can keep it up. Tough stretch, it is. And I go back. Every week is almost like a separate chapter. If Mount Vernon would have lost last week to Triad, it's a different look last night, different feel. They win last night. Now next week looks a little brighter. Marion loses to Cahokia. Now they got to get on the bus and come north. That's a different look. Centralia beats Carbondale. They got a little more swagger heading over to Althoff. A little different. Everything's going on,
Yes, it is. Of course, we'll talk more about Week 5 coming up and maybe some reaction to Week 4. But first, we need to talk with Tim Holloway, head coach of Mount Vernon Rams baseball. Multiple facets possibly to this interview coming up. You'll want to stay tuned here on WMIX, WMIXsports.com for the Saturday Sports Show, powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these for our big fans.
I'm Kevin Snyder with a look at your next rad weather. A rather pleasant day for today. It will turn out to be mostly sunny with a high of 72. Then a mainly clear and cool night tonight. Low 44 to 48. Mostly sunny throughout the day tomorrow with a high 74. Then Monday will be pleasant with plenty of sunshine, high of 75. Next rad weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
This is Chase Landers with Landers Collision Centers. It's been said that in order to grow, you have to change. Very rarely anymore do insurance companies ask the phrase to go out and get 3 estimates. The new phrase insurance companies are asking is, would you like to take your vehicle to one of our direct repair facilities? This is a way for your insurance company and collision repair center to help relieve the stress you may have from your unfortunate incident. And, as Landers Collision Centers has adapted to this forever-changing industry, we are extremely happy to announce that we are a direct repair facility for over 10 different insurance companies. It's likely that one of them is yours. From dealing with your insurance company, setting you up with a rental vehicle, lifetime warranty on repairs, and of course, Landers free lifetime detailing for qualified customers, Landers Collision Centers literally takes the stress from your incident and turns it back into a shiny new ride for you to enjoy again. Landers is here for you whenever you need us. Big or small, Landers fixes them all. 1-888-LANDERS. That's 1-888-LANDERS.
The health of your kidneys has a big impact on your overall health, affecting everything from your blood pressure to your bones. And if you ever have a kidney problem, Dr. Kangura is here to help. Dr. Kangura trained at the Mayo Clinic and specializes in conditions ranging from kidney stones and uncontrolled high blood pressure to chronic kidney disease. Dr. Kangura sees patients at Crossroads Specialty Clinic. For an appointment, call 618-241-9071.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX and WMIXSports.com. It's powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
You bet it is. And, of course, may seem a little off here to be welcoming Mount Vernon Rams baseball coach Tim Holloway, but the Rams have a big fundraiser coming up in the form of a golf outing on Saturday, October the 12th. Coach Holloway, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
You know what? Since we last spoke to you, some things have kind of happened. The Rams put together this golf fundraiser. You had me announced as going into the MVTHS Hall of Fame. And then tonight, you resurrect your basketball career, as I understand it.
Resurrect? I don't know about that, Chris. You're starting to scare me there.
I'm a pretty frightening fellow. But first of all, first things first, big fundraiser coming up for Mount Vernon Rams baseball. It's a golf outing, of course, Saturday, October the 12th at Green Hills here in Mount Vernon. And this is a big event in terms of raising some cash for Mount Vernon Rams baseball because you guys have some pretty big things that you'd like to do to BK Field, but also have some pretty big things on the horizon in terms of your schedule.
Well, absolutely. And, you know, we don't like to ask for money. We're trying to find some things that people can enjoy. Our former players that may feel like, hey, I want to get back to the program, they can come enjoy a day with their teammates and just enjoy a day of golf and also help the program. So I think it's shaping up to be a good one. I know we've got some teams from some guys that I play with from my era. They're coming back, several teams there, and hopefully some of our younger generation. But our schedule this year is going to allow us to take an overnight trip to Kentucky. We've got a call this summer. Right now, the last I've heard, we're going to play Bartlett, Tennessee on a Friday, who is very, very good if you ever heard of Bartlett, Tennessee. And then we're going to play Memphis U-High. And then the next day, we're going to stay the night. The next day, we'll play either McCracken County, which is a new school that has consolidated down there. It should be a good program, or someone else of a high caliber. So we need to raise some money for hotel rooms, food, that type of thing.
Memphis U-High, the Owls.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't ever
Yeah.
they don't ever make mistakes playing basketball. I can't imagine what they don't do in baseball.
Yeah, I believe we played them at SIU when I was coaching with Doug several years ago, if I remember right. So I know they played some baseball down there, and it should be a good challenge for us.
Talk about some of the specifics on your golf scramble on October 12th, entry, sign up. I've got a team getting ready to formulate. I know it's a shock, it's golf, but I've got a team starting to form. What are the specifics if people want to bring a team out or whole sponsor or anything else?
Great. I'm glad you're playing, Danny. We've got 4-person team. It's going to be a scramble. We have lunch and registration. It's going to start at 11, and it's going to be a shotgun start at noon. What we need to know is, you know, if you have a team and you're out there and you want to get something going, please let us know. You know, our numbers are on the flyer. because I want to make sure we have enough food. That's the main thing. Just let us know. You can pay when you get there. It's $60 a person, $240 a team. We're also still trying to get some whole sponsors. We have quite a few. The whole sponsors are $100. So that's the main thing. Just let us know if you want a team, and it should be a good day.
Of course, you guys have also recently announced the possibility now of corporate sponsors, which, looking at that dollar figure, is a very good value because it gets you the 4-person team, it gets you your whole sponsorship, but also gets you brand awareness in terms of banner recognition at the golf course that day. That's a pretty good value.
Right. It was an idea brought up to me, and we thought we'd throw it out there. We'd love to have a few corporate sponsors. And one thing about our kids, I know it's off season, and we're all excited about Rams football and our cross country. A lot of teams doing well right now, but it's easier raising money in the off season when you're not in the middle of your season. And our guys have done the right things on and off the field the last several years. I think that they deserve some support, and we would appreciate any that anyone would give.
Well, and of course, I know from having dealt with you for many years now, and of course with Coach McClure, that you guys really do not like asking for money, but you guys have a great baseball facility, and I know there's some work that you guys would still like to do to that. This would be very instrumental in helping you accomplish those goals. What are some of the things you would like to see happen at Brendan Klein Memorial Field to not only better the facility, but it would also better the community?
Well, right now, and as you know, we try to do something every year, a project every year to better the field. There's a lot of things going right now. We just added some red warning track like you would see at Busch Stadium. Just put that in and spread that. Our kids did that last weekend. The Kiwanis was very gracious in donating that. We're going to put some new windscreen up. We also are turning our turf, our field grass, over to a gentleman that's going to do a good job with it, and he's going to give us some much-needed attention and make it even better than it is. So those things, obviously, they cost money. There's also right now a restroom/concession stand/ combination building with locker room, coach's office in the works through private donations. So, we've been very blessed out there, but we also, to run a baseball program, it's kind of like football. There's a lot of equipment. We need field dry every year. It's expensive. We like to keep them on the field, and there's always things that come up that we need. So we can use anything we can get.
Of course, for those who are interested in maybe donating or just participating in the golf fundraiser, how can they go about that?
I'm sorry, Chris, repeat that?
Sure, yeah. How can those who might be interested in donating or playing in the golf outing, how can they get a hold of someone or make that donation?
They can call me. My number's on the flyer, which I know you guys have had on your website, or they can call Tracy Jones with our booster club. She'll be glad to set it up. So one of us will be glad to get them set up and going, and we'd love to have some community support and have people out there supporting our student athletes.
Okay, I got to know this game tonight, and you can't tell me you're not competitive. How much training has Tim Holloway put in so he can get out there tonight and rack up some points at Chagnon?
Don't expect much from me, fellas. I was thinking I probably haven't played a pickup game in 10 years, and it's been 16 or so since I played competitively. So I have not played basketball other than a little bit of around the world with my kids a few times this fall. And I did a little jogging up and down the road the last couple weeks. That will not be enough for me to make many good things happen. So, we're trying to raise some money, but I have realistic expectations.
Are you at a point where you can look at the coach? I can't remember who your coach is tonight. Look at him and say, "Hey, I'm going to play this much. I'm done. I'll do what I want." Are you at that point in your career?
No, I listen to my coach now. I'm coach. Whatever he tells me, I'm going to try to do. Our coach is Kurt Stroffman, so I'm sure he's got a plan. I think they've got 10 on each team, which if they can keep us running in and out, that will be a whole lot better. I know I'm one of the older guys out there, but there's some youngsters that can keep going for a while. But 37, been a long time, not going to happen too well.
So was this a case where you had to be sold on this, or because it was for such a good cause, it was easy to say yes?
Well, to be honest with you, I was asked about it, and my first response was, "I'm sorry, I can't do it." And I told myself many years ago that when I was done playing, I was done, because when you can't do what you used to do, you get frustrated, and it just wasn't worth it. So then I heard some guys I knew were playing, and they asked me, hey, I'd rather not do it. I'm not wanting to go to the ER that night. So then Barb Williams' grandson plays on our little baseball team, and she said, hey, you're gonna play, right? And, well, I guess I can. So here I am, and that's kind of probably how it happened for a lot of the guys, but it's a good cause, and, we have great fans in Mount Vernon, and it'll be fine.
That sounds like a fun time indeed, gauging from the two rosters. But just kind of a quick thought here. You're going into the MVTHS Hall of Fame. I know you don't like personal accolades, but how does it feel to go in as a Hall of Famer as an individual?
Well, I haven't had a whole lot of time to think about it. It's something that people have brought up to me over the last several years, and didn't think too much. I saw that it happened, and I appreciate that, but I'm most proud of the teams I was on, the guys I play with. I play with some tremendous guys. We had a lot of success, and those are the things that are important to me. If it wasn't for them, then it would have never happened. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of those guys tonight, and there's a lot of good people that helped me throughout my life.
Of course, that brings us to our final question. You're used to it by now. It is the WMIX Sports social media question of the week, and you've been looking rather svelte lately, so I'm not sure how many milkshakes you've had recently, but when you do have a milkshake, what is your favorite flavor?
Oh, I'm definitely a vanilla guy.
Nice.
Thank you.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, exactly. That's one of my favorite philosophies. Coach, thank you for taking the time to join us. We'll keep that information rolling about your golf outing on October the 12th. Is there a deadline, or can people still come out on the day of, as far as registration?
They can come out. They can come out. There's not a deadline. We'll still take whole sponsors, corporate sponsors. If anyone is interested, they can contact us. So thanks for having me on, and we appreciate everyone that's supporting us.
Always a pleasure. That's Tim Holloway, head coach of the Mount Vernon Rams baseball team. Of course, finished fourth in the state this year. Continuing to go to new heights is Mount Vernon Rams baseball. No doubt about that. Of course, this can help propel them to new heights as well. So glad to have everybody with us on the Saturday Sports Show as we roll in to the latter portion of the program. But you can find that information on Facebook, facebook.com/WMIX Sports, as we're happy to be able to help Rams baseball however we can. And any Rams and Lady Rams athletics, any local school that has anything going on, we're always proud to try to help. And this is a very valuable case here as the Mount Vernon Rams baseball team needs your support. Don't forget, FBLA and Hosa are putting on the Pink Out Night on Friday night as the Mount Vernon Rams football team looks for 4-1 and 2-0 in the South 7, but it'll be tough against the Marion Wildcats. Come out, show your support, not only wearing pink, but maybe hiding some orange and black underneath it for the sake of spirit, and support the Mount Vernon Rams and also the Susan G. Komen Cancer Foundation, of course. Proceeds will go to that on Friday night. You can find more information on that on mvths.org, of course, for that event. And then tonight, another cancer fundraiser, of course. We'll go for the Peacock Printing Relay for Life team in celebration of Barb Williams, of course. She is celebrating 20 years as a cancer survivor. So her son, you might know his name, Kent Williams, of course, the MVTHS Hall of Famer, Saluki Hall of Famer down there at Southern Illinois. Of course, having that big event tonight at Shagnon Gym. 6:30, of course, is your tip-off, I believe. $5 to get in at the door. And again, all proceeds, will have concessions too. All proceeds will go to the Peacock Printing Celebration Relay for Life team. So that is a great cause. It'll be a good time. You look at the roster. We have that on our Facebook page. Some Ram legends coming back to play in that. Of course, all set up, I believe, primarily by Kent Williams and Scott Gambers. So that should be a good time tonight. Those two will battle head-to-head. And, of course, Doug Creel will be a player coach for Kent's team. And on Scott's team, you'll have longtime voice of the Mount Vernon Rams here on WMIX, Kurt Strothman, as the other. So that's a good cause tonight. Get out and support these local functions. And if you have a function you'd like to submit for us to put on our Facebook page or the Twitterverse, you can email WMIXsports@mywithersradio.com. So there you go. We need to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up week 4 of the football season, give you our answers to the WMIX Sports social media question of the week, and talk a little about week 5. This is the Saturday Sports Show powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
Here's Jeff Schmidt for Schmidt Chevrolet of Mount Vernon.
The 2014 Chevy Impala is a car like no other. It's a world-class car. And I tell you, Chevrolet really knocked it out of the ballpark with this car. The more we show it, the more we love it. Our customers love it. The design is beautiful. The interior is absolutely gorgeous. The ride and handling is like no other. And for the money, I don't think you can find a better buy out there right now.
Schmidt Chevrolet of Mount Vernon, 3423 Broadway in Mount Vernon.
can't pick us up where you live. Move. This is WMIX, Mount Vernon, Marion. Another Withers broadcasting station.
When you hear the warm, inviting sound of a crackling fire, what comes to mind? A rustic campground? A cozy cabin? How about the new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center? Our new family lounges feature a lot of comforts you might not expect. Things like this. No, that's not a babbling brook or serene stream out in the countryside. It's a 2-story waterfall located right here at Good Samaritan. And that's not the only way we're raising the bar for patient comfort. We've added lush healing gardens, as well as wall after wall of beautiful artwork, all designed to create the perfect healing atmosphere. And if all this sounds like music to your ears, we encourage you to check us out. Chances are, we're not too far from where you are right now.
The new Good Samaritan Regional Health Center. Raising a hospital, raising the bar.
High school sports are back, and your source for scores is WMIXsports.com. Also, find archived local sports broadcasts, video highlights, national sports headlines, and more right at your fingertips. Listen and watch live WMIX sports broadcasts from your desktop or any mobile device. Need a score? Want to see a sick dunk? Miss a game? Didn't get up in time for the Saturday sports show? That's right, it's all at WMIXsports.com. Another free service from Withers Broadcasting. WMIXsports.com.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Show. WMIX, WMIXsports.com. Of course, 18 minutes left on the program, or the approximate, of course. Chris Hugo with Danny Zerwinski, Avery Barton in the studio. Week 4 of the football season, I don't know. Of course, our scoreboard, you can find it on WMIXsports.com, but telling you now that in the South 7, the Rams beat Althoff 41-32. Centralia beat Carbondale 28-27. Cahokia beat Marion 28-21. In the Diamond last night, SVWW shuts out McLeansboro 24-0. Chester over Carmi-White County 19-14. Johnston City over CZR 30-21. El Dorado over Alvarado Trico 41-0. Fairfield, of course, over Vienna Goreville 43-8. In the Mississippi, it was AJ over Nashville 55-14. Carterville over DuQuoin 50-15. Pinckneyville over Sparta. Steelville Co-op 36-14. In the Ohio, as they would say in some parts of the state, Heron over Benton 30-6. Murfreesboro over Massac 52-14. And Harrisburg over West Frankfort 27-6.
I didn't know they said it that way.
I've heard the Ohio quite a bit. I prefer Ohio personally, but that's just me.
Yeah.
But anyhow, those are the big three mainly. As far as surprises, I am not surprised by Centralia Carbondale. I know a lot of people are. I'm not surprised in the least bit. I'm really not surprised by Cahokia Marion because this is truly a conference right now where you don't know what's going to happen from week to week.
It's a murky, muddy water that is the South 7 Conference in my best NFL films voice. But, this is one of the... I think when you look around, Black Diamonds, Chester, El Dorado, Fairfield. The river to river, it's Carterville and waiting on Heron. South 7's still a muddled mess of fun. And the next 4 weeks are going to be crazy. I mean, there's no guarantees home or away in the South 7 this year.
Well, and taking a look at what we deem our big three, no surprises for me at all. Chester, Carmi doesn't surprise me. It was a close game. Carmi's in the upper echelon of the Diamond. Chester's not going to be able to dominate every game, even if they do run the table again. Fairfield, Vienna doesn't surprise me. Eldorado, well, obviously the tomato doesn't surprise me. JC, CZR, that's been a close game for the past few years now. The Red Devils over McLeansboro doesn't surprise me at all. I'm struggling to find a shock last night as far as those three. The only surprise I have that I see on the games that were on my radar, and I'm looking at the entire state, would probably be out of the Apollo, Effingham doubling up Charleston. That surprises me a little bit. A struggling Hearts team that finally got a win.
Yeah,
we're gonna need to rattle off 6 straight. And that's not even a guarantee of a home game. So we're doing
we're in trouble there. We got to hope our brethren to the west and the Metro East take care of us because we're going to be without something to do on a Friday night. Come on, O'Fallon, somewhere. Those of you wanting to know, we will get to Milkshake Talk and talk about the SIU SEMO game today at Busch Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll get there in a second. Yes, they are playing at Busch Stadium today.
I heard that.
Yeah. I don't know what to think high school football right now. I mean, I'm not sure Southern Illinois got a team, and I'm trying to be nice, that depending on the draw can maybe go quarterfinals.
Right.
Carterville got a break last year and got a deep run.
Carterville would be the likely.
If Mount
likelihood out
Vernon
of all of them.
were to continue to progress, play like they did the first
Sure.
4 weeks, get into 5A, you got a chance to do a couple, 2-3 rounds or whatever. You know, they're
right.
That's the private school quadrant. But if you get into 6A, you know what's the draw? You're going to play Bloomington. You're going to play Springfield. You're going to play some Champaign. You know what I mean? So I mean, there's just not this team down here in Southern Illinois that says, "Look at me, I'm going to be able to dominate and get far." Harrisburg had 3 home games last year, then got to Rochester. We all know how that goes. There's not a team that's just staying there. Here I am.
Right.
Carterville's trying to, but I'm waiting on AJ. Carterville next week will tell me a lot.
Exactly.
If they roll into AJ next week, and just gunsmoke them, then count it and so be it.
Sure. And, you know, taking a look, had a text asking about the Apollo Conference scores from last night. Go ahead and give it to you on the air. Effingham over Charleston, 26-13. Mattoon over Mount Zion, 30-20. And Paris over Salem in the last matchup they'll have in the Apollo, 32-15. So this is kind of the last hurrah on the Apollo for Paris. But there you go. The rest of the scores statewide. And then I had another thing about the Cahokia. Carlisle over Central, 21-20. DuPo over Redbud, 28-12. And Columbia over Westglen, 48-14.
And Mount Carmel shells Mater Dei.
Yeah.
Carmel,
I'm not surprised by that either.
Now there's a team. Now that's out periphery, but Mount Carmel's a team with all the legend around this group. That could be a team that makes a march.
Sure.
Could be 3A or 4A. That team could make a march.
They get lost in the shuffle from being in the Big 8 in Indiana.
They're not in Indiana?
Well, I've tried to push them off a few times. That happens. Not in a bad way.
But
just geographically and logically
it's
makes
like
more sense.
Massac County, Sparta. They're just kind of...
Yeah.
I can't complain about Sparta. Enjoyed their scramble last week, winning that one again with a group of people. But
nice. Randolph County.
Yeah, went over there. Clinton. Mount Carmel's a team right now that pretty well dominating, but... You know, week 5, a lot of crazy matchups. Rivalry week in the Black Diamond Conference. Say that 3 times fast. South 7's crazy. River to River's got the big game is obviously HA. Or I should say, what am I trying to say? That would be Carterville at AJ next week.
Looking forward to Mattoon and Chucktown at Eastern Illinois University.
Benton at Frankfurt's an interesting game.
Speaking of Chucks, yes.
That's an interesting game.
I'm kind of looking around the state right now as far as games are going to be. Obviously, Mount Vernon Marion will be interesting. Centralia Althoff, I think Centralia now
the whole 3 games,
favorite, but anything can happen.
Yeah.
Cahokia at Carbondale should be interesting.
For obvious reasons, Pinckneyville at DuQuoin. DuQuoin could go 0-5 for the first time since '78. Pinckneyville would be 4-1 if they win. That is, you know, Nashville at Sparta. And the Hornets could get another win. You know, Murphy at Heron. Heron's going to get a win. Harrisburg at Massac. Can Massac rebound and score some points, or is Harrisburg starting to turn the corner?
Milk Bowl next week, Central Mater Dei.
Oh, the old Milk Bowl. There'll be a few people in that town going to bed next week at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But looking at it, I mean, there's just nothing that really sticks out, obviously, unless you look at some of the rivalry matchups in conference play next week. Columbia Carlisle could be a dandy in the Cahokia. We'll see how that one works out.
That's interesting.
Because what you have right now is DuPo did beat up on Redbud, but Redbud's kind of on a downswing right now in terms of momentum. DuPo, of course, with a new head coach, making some waves.
Got a win last night.
So, I mean, DuPo Westglen could be interesting. You know, you have Tim Nelson, Rick Johns. You have student versus teacher there from Hardin Calhoun.
Yes. Good point.
So that'll be interesting.
Starting to get to that time. I mean, next week we eliminate teams that are 0-5. First week we eliminate teams from the playoffs. You're half over.
At halftime, the season's half done.
Oh, you're halfway to Mount Vernon Conference at halftime next week.
There you go. There's that too.
Yep.
But, I mean, at the same time, and really nothing on the schedule that impressive. Of course, we'll have all the scores for you next week in terms of the finals on WMIXsports.com. It is an interesting week in high school football. We'll see how it all shakes out. But other than that, you know, not a lot of confidence points to be had in the South 7 Conference pick'em right now. And I'm not saying that to belittle any of the teams, but, you know, you don't know what you're going to get out of a Marion team that lost to a previously winless Cahokia last week, coming into J.D. Shields Memorial Stadium next week. You mentioned SIU SEMO. That's a big game today, 1 o'clock kickoff at Busch Stadium.
That is a game at Busch Stadium. They've chalked the field or painted the field, and it'll run from kind of left field corner to right field, right behind first base. Seeing the pictures, there's not a lot of ink on it because they don't want to kill grass and tear up the field with the Nationals coming in on Monday. I mean, they got less than 48 hours to turn that field around. I mean, they don't have to move any stands. It's not like the old Busch Stadium. They just set it out there. A couple of the end zones are rather close to some, sides of the stadium, but I haven't heard. I don't think they're going to make one team go one direction then the other. They have two end zones. I don't know. I don't think for them I would have had that game a month from now because I wouldn't want them to tear up the field. That's just me.
Exactly.
They sold it I'm one
That's
of those.
the first
like,
thing I thought of.
I'm like, Cardinals are going to be in the playoffs. They got a chance to host a game and or a series or more, and you're going to tear up the field with football, and you're not the Oakland A's. Okay. That's not good. That's another thing to think about. How many actual fields are double used anymore? Oakland, Oakland about it, isn't it? Double used.
Yeah,
I think it is the
that's
Oakland
about it.
A's. Yeah.
Well, because this was built under the guise that there would not be football in it, so that makes it interesting.
Well, they've already blown that twice over. The American football and then the football, as they like to call it across the pond.
Football. That's interesting in itself. But that game will be on the Saluki Radio Network, of course. 12 o'clock will be your pregame, X95.3 here locally. Also, 105.1, the flagship VZA. Of course, you can also pick up the Tri-State. Here's the bad thing about that. Go to SIUSalukis.com, look for the radio network, because basically we have most of them, and you can pick them all up at some point in our coverage area, because it's too expansive. So that's probably the easiest, because otherwise I'm just going to have to name every station on the network, because that's how big.
They're hearing us in Peoria right now.
So there you
Peoria,
go.
So.
That's just the easiest method, in my opinion. Flagship, of course, is 105.1 VZA. Of course, X95 is probably what I'll listen to it on a little bit later. So there you go. Salukis have a big one tonight. WMIX Sports social media question. What is your favorite milkshake flavor?
Peanut butter.
When did you get peanut butter? Did you get peanut butter last night?
No.
They didn't have
I
that
got
option.
milkshake. I actually got a milkshake for somebody else did. Of course, our
machine
friend
broke on
Jeff
us.
Crow destroyed the machine. Well, he didn't tear it up, but it broke.
He's
But,
had bad luck. Bad place, bad time.
I go with peanut butter or, a nicely well done vanilla milkshake goes a long way, I think. What is yours, Mr. Hugo?
I rotate my favorites.
Okay, well, I'll be good.
I like mint chip. That's not my top. My top is cookies and cream, man. That's the best one. That had like a chicken strips with gravy feel to it when I just said cookies and cream, man.
The old chicken strips with gravy, man. I remember that commercial.
Well, yeah, because
Tilapia fish sandwich.
I intentionally do not do production work as far as voicing spots, and I got relegated into this one, and I gave my best effort to the Spanish version, which was not used.
No.
So, yeah, happens.
But
those are our answers. Mine is
Chicken
Avery. What's
strips.
yours?
Oh, here
hey,
we
don't
go.
say it off air, off microphone. You got to come here. I'm not moving the microphone. I'm
Yeah,
not doing
come
that.
on.
You're gonna have to break the fourth wall.
Yes.
I
Get
guess
to the mic. The microphone's there. Come on.
I don't wanna
Come on,
He's not
Junior.
being helpful. Yeah, well.
Yeah, there you go.
Like my alleged father, Chris Hugo.
There you go.
I'm a big cookies and cream fan.
Okay.
I'm also a Oreo cookie guy. I just like anything that has sugar and ice cream all mixed together. That's just that's a good mix. I mean, you can't go wrong with a milkshake.
You also like the root beer float, which when you're not drinking soda and you have a root beer float, you have then had soda. So that is here nor there. But those are our answers to the social media question. We hope you'll give us your answers as well. Hit us up on Facebook. You can also tweet your answers on Twitter. That's kind of redundant. At WMIX Sports, hit us up there. Not as busy of a week as we're normally accustomed to in terms of Rams and Lady Rams coverage next week. The Lady Rams will have the Salem Wildcats in the Shagnon Gymnasium on Monday. We'll have that for you on WMIX and WMIXsports.com. Pardon me. And then, of course, we'll have the Pink Out game on Friday night as the 3-1 Rams welcome the 2-2 Marion Wildcats. 6:30 will be your pregame, and, of course, 7 o'clock your kickoff. Video online at WMIXsports.com. Audio on WMIX 940. That is right here if you're keeping score at home. Recapping some fundraisers, of course, going on. Don't forget Rams Golf Outing, October the 12th. You can find registration information on our Facebook page at facebook.com/WMIX Sports. You can find Pink Out information for Friday night. They're going to try to do the jerseys. I hope they were able to get that off of the ground. Haven't been able to get an update on that. But that'd be a cool thing if they can put the pink jerseys on the players next week. We will find out, of course, if they are able to get that done. But all in all, that is a great fundraiser for the Susan G. Komen Foundation. That'll be on Friday night. Tonight, it is upon us. The Legends for Life basketball game tonight at Shagnon Gym, 6:30. That gets underway. You can find more information on that as well on our Facebook page and as well as the Twitterverse. 6:30 tonight, 5 o'clock admission gets you in the door. And, of course, concessions will be sold with all proceeds going to the Peacock Printing Celebration Relay for Life team in honor, of course, of Barb Williams' 20th anniversary of surviving cancer. So that'll be fun tonight. A lot of fun, I think, with a lot of Ram alumni coming back. You have some favorites from just about each decade coming in. Of course, Doug Creel, I won't say which decade he represents in Rams basketball.
Every one of them.
There you go. Actually, that is accurate. That is very accurate. So, but Scott Gamber will play, Brian Gamber, Bryce Quiava, E.J. Randolph, Jared Sledge, Tommy Hayes, David Spann, Derek Harlan, Chad Hammonds, Jeff Houston, Ken Williams, of course. Pretty well thrown the kitchen sink of Rams basketball to everybody.
Just the
Kyle
main
McClure.
thing. Kyle McClure, Big Game James. Get out there, support, spend some money for a good cause. That's the main important thing.
Exactly. I think that's the thing about it is it's going to be a lot of fun. And you get to go relive some memories if you're a fan of Rams basketball. But, I mean, such a great roster. And I know there's guys we forgot. I think Matt Morris, of course, is going to come as kind of an honored son. Ryan Cross, I think, is going to make an appearance. Scott Williams is going to play. Kevin Bowen, you can't forget about him. Of course, now the principal up at Sisney after a nice career coaching.
He could probably still game.
Ryan Maurer looks to be in pretty good shape. So,
There's
I mean,
some guys that could probably still game. It's going to be on that floor tonight.
Jared Sledge has stayed in pretty good shape over the years,
I
too.
bet Kent Williams still got a little game.
Along with that competitive nature,
you gotta have
yes.
game, yeah.
Too bad Gonzo couldn't participate as well, even though he's not a Ram. But, I mean, he could be an honored Ram in that.
I like
but Tim Holloway, too.
I got to think of this guy. Assistant coach at Tennessee with Kent.
You would do that.
Centray Holiday Tournament lore, those three. There's a guy there.
Oh, man, I can see him.
Tracy Webster.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's another guy.
Thornton? No, not Thornton.
I think.
Like, I'm seeing everything with the jersey.
Yeah.
Right now.
I mean that you can imagine some Illinois high school basketball history there between those three parts of the state.
Oh, amen.
Of course, Conzo Martin was big in the late 80s. What his program went on East St. Louis. East St. Louis Lincoln at the time.
Lincoln the basketball, Senior the football. Am I right?
Yeah.
Now merged all into one, all under the brand of the Flyers. So there you go. A little bit of history for you. Of course, we hope you'll take the time to support that fundraiser tonight. Of course, Shagnon, I think, comfortably, according to the fire marshal, can fit in upwards of over 2,000.
That's where they go. We'd like to present the fire marshal with a special key to the building tonight. Thank you for coming. And then you tell him to not count.
Yep.
So what if there are people sitting in the aisles? Who cares?
Exactly.
Don't look.
Going to be a great fundraiser tonight, so we hope you'll get out and take the time to support that, and hopefully they can raise a lot of money for cancer tonight at Shagnon Gymnasium. And, of course, also the Pink Out on Friday night. Very proud of that as well. Don't forget to always stay up to date with our website, WMIXsports.com, a fresh scoreboard every night that there is a local activity. And, of course, you can hit us up on Twitter at WMIX Sports. We're on Facebook as well. And then, of course, the station website is located at WMIX94.com. Should you ever feel the need to stay up to date on local news, it's WMIX94.com. That has been the Saturday Sports Show this week. We're back next week, same time after the 8 o'clock news, right here on WMIX 940 and WMIXsports.com. So thank you for Danny, for Avery Barton. I'm Chris Hugo, thanking you again for tuning in to WMIX Mount Vernon. NBC News is now.